Did your mother and grandmother have a choice? That's the thing that a lot of us African men forget. Did your mother or your grandmother, who you praise so much as an African man, did they have a choice in the matter? Because that's something that this is an aspect that I feel like a lot of us African men either we miss completely or we ignore deliberately. If that makes any sense, right? If that makes any sense. When we say, oh, my mother, my in my mother's generation, she did this, she did that. How many of them actually had a choice to say, I decide to stay at home. I decide to not stand up for myself. It's a fair conversation in my opinion. Exactly, Camilla. Or are you glamorizing their suffering? Because listen, a lot of what your mother or grandmother went through, a lot of us men wouldn't want our own daughters to go through that. That is something that we don't talk about enough. A lot of these men, if not all of them that are talking about my mother's generation, my grandmother, and you want your wife to behave like that, would you allow your daughter to go through exactly what your mother went through? That's the question I always love to ask them. And oftentimes, either they will not give you an answer or they will try to skirt over because they know deep down is the truth. Do you really think that your mother and grandmother that you glorify for being whatever she was, do you think if she had a choice, she wouldn't choose to become a modern woman, quote unquote? Kenny Black, I salute you. Let's have an honest conversation. And be honest with yourself. If your grandmother and your mother had a choice to choose, do you want to become the best version of yourself and see what you can achieve in this life? Would you choose the path? No, I'm not accepting anybody else. Let me give me 10 minutes, let me make my point and answer that. I'll bring people up, I promise you, bro. I see you, Titanic. Okay, just give me 10 minutes to make my points. Then everybody can talk. Okay, bro? I got you, brother. Thank you. That's the angle I want us to talk from. If she had a choice, because that's something else we need to talk. Because a lot of us, one thing we ignore is that when we are talking about our parents, when we are looking at our parents, a lot of us, especially African men, we love to look at our parents from rose-colored glasses. We like to look at our parents from rose-colored glasses perspective. Hey, Esther in the garden. Esther, where have you been, man? You're elusive lately. How you doing, Esther? Good to see you, dear. A lot of us, and this is something I want us to talk about. Esther, how are you? A lot of us like to look at our parents from rose-colored glasses. And that's the thing. I, myself, as Mr. Kingsley, I had to train myself to remove that rose-colored glass. So I could look at my parents, my father, my mother, as individuals. And a lot of the times, when we remove those rose-colored glasses, and we now see our parents, you see them as flawed individuals. And this is something I always love to say to African, especially Nigerian men. And I know it's not unique to Nigerian men, but I have to speak to Nigerian men because that's the culture I'm familiar with. You understand? The thing is this. When you look back, okay? When you look back at your mother, are you glorifying your mother because it suited you? Have you really sat down with your mother that you are putting on a pedestal as African men and say, Mommy, how was it really like? See, a lot of us men, if we really sit down with our mothers and grandmothers and ask them how they really feel, bro, I'm being honest with you. If you sit down with your mother or grandmother, those same African men that are always praising them, my grandmother is like this, my mother, if you sit down with your grandmother and she tells you her story of how she ended up where she was or where she is, that you love so much, some of you may walk out of that conversation crying. Ivy, my dear, Happy New Year. You know why I know this so much? You know why I know this so much? Because I talk to women. I get along with women so much. It's crazy, especially older women, like really old women. They'll tell you, my daughter, back in my days, us women, we couldn't go to school. Our fathers married us off. Sometimes our mothers married our fathers. They had no choice in the matter. These are the kind of conversations I don't think some of us are ready to have. It's that deep. Some of our, especially grandmothers and mothers, they married your dad and our grandfathers. They had no choice in that matter even. My friend's son is of there. That's how you came about. I want this. I don't want us to be finger pointing. I don't want that. If anybody is pointing fingers, I will drop you. I don't want that. I want us to sit down and listen to one another. I'm not here to point fingers. Even in the video that I made, I never pointed fingers. I said this is why a lot of African men glorify their mothers and grandmothers. You're glorifying it because it suited your narrative. Have you actually sat down with your mother and had a very honest conversation with her? I am very close with my mother. My mother will tell me, I just spoke to her like 10 minutes ago. The network was bad though, but I spoke with her. Till this day, this woman tells me, Kingsley, I thank God for my father. Till this day, the man has long gone, may his soul rest in peace. I love that man so much. Till this day, my mother, she's in her early 60s. Till this day, she says, I thank God for my father. She calls me a tete, which means the father of my father. The pet name my mother gave me is Etete. Anybody that comes from my land, you know what that means. It means the father of my father. The father of my Ete means father. Etete means the father of my father. That's the name she gave me. She loves that a lot because she owes that to her father actually sending her to school. Is that to us now in 2025? Like, oh, it's a no-brainer. She told me that back then, girls, they didn't send girls to school. They didn't send women to school. Your job as a girl was, dude, we'll send the boys to school, and when you reach a certain age, your job is to go and become somebody's wife somewhere. That's it. So in that kind of situation as an African man, I want you to put yourself in there. Do you really think in that kind of situation, the women actually had a choice? That's my point. If your mother and your grandmother had the access that the average woman has today, do you really think she would have been around in those situations? Back then, divorce was unheard of. It was taboo. Was your husband beating the shit out of you? Your husband could beat the living brakes out of you, break your jaw, even kill you. Hey, go back to your husband. They'd rather have you dead in your marriage than actually walking away, even till today. So that's why marriages lasted longer. It wasn't as if this is something a lot of African men need to understand. Divorce is not always a bad thing. Divorce is not always a bad thing. Just because a couple stays together for a very long time doesn't automatically mean that marriage is a good marriage. I hear this from a lot of African men a lot. But look at the marriages in the West and look at the marriage in Africa. Marriage in Africa lasts longer. That's not an indicator of a successful marriage. I don't know why. Just because your parents stayed for 40 years doesn't mean, because they stayed for 40 years, it automatically means it's a good marriage. That's not how life works. What is the quality of the marriage? Was your mother happy? Was she actually happy? Like fulfilled? The reason I'm speaking like this because I've sat down and just listened to women, married, unmarried, African, 60-year-old women, 25-year-old women, 30-year-old across Nigeria. That's why I can speak like this. And when I'm speaking to them, I'm not trying to prove a point. No, I listen and I don't judge. See, that's the big thing now. I listen and I don't judge. Could your mother and grandmother go to school? Did she have access to education? Did she have YouTube? So when I see African men demonizing feminism, feminism is actually what gave women access to things that they didn't have access to. But a lot of you are demonizing feminism because it threatens your power as a man. I never called your mom weakling. I'm talking about culture. You're trying to prove a point. You're not listening to me. When did I call them weakling? That's why I don't want to have something. I don't want to have chat something because a lot of you are here to prove a point. I'm not here to prove a point. I don't care. Fact are fact. For a large period of time, our generations of our grandmothers and our mothers, they couldn't go to school. They did not have access. Now, were there some aspects of African culture where women were solid? Yes. It's not even about being strong. It's about, did they have access? Did they have a choice? It's not about being strong. And that to me, that's not my point. I don't care about strong. It's about being able to have a choice. I don't care about strong. It's choice. I'm talking about choice. I don't care about strong or not. Did they have a choice? Feminism gives women a choice. Feminism gave women a choice. Most of our grandmothers had to marry your father. They had no choice. Even the mothers had to marry your father. They most likely had no choice. Because if she said no, guess what? Oh, you brought shame on this family. Oh my God. Is the man abusing you? You go to church. Go back. What did I always say? Even in Hollywood film, go back to your husband. Everything, go back to your husband. Go back to your husband. That's the point. That's what I want to talk about. And I'm not here to prove a point. I don't care. The point is, did our mothers have a choice? And if they had a choice today, do you really think they wouldn't choose their freedom? Let's be for real. If our grandmothers had a choice to go to university, go to school, travel the world, become better versions of themselves, you think they wouldn't have chosen that? Do you think they would have settled for less? Ask yourself that question. Would our parents have settled for less if they had a choice? I see some guys in the comment section already trying to do a comparison. That's not what I'm talking about. Again, why do you guys miss? I'm not in the mood to try and fight anybody. I am making a point. Did our mothers have a choice? How many of them would have chosen the path that they have today? Now, there could be exceptions here and there, but my point, a lot of what we as African men need to understand is that most women back in the days did not have a choice. Are there some cultures here and there where women actually had a choice? Yes. But even in those cultures, there were systems in place that didn't allow her to facilitate herself. So my point is this. I guess the reason why I'm actually having this conversation is because a lot of the African men that always love to glorify their mothers and grandmothers, a lot of us miss that. We are looking at it from a rose-colored glasses for the most part. It's not real. We are looking at it from a rose-colored glasses oftentimes. That's something we need to address. Now, I'm not talking about the exceptions. I don't care. I'm talking about Africa at large. You understand? And that's why when I hear some men talk about women sometimes, I'm like, dude, who raised you? And this is a very simple question I always ask them, like, would you let your daughters go through what you are describing now? The same thing you're glorifying your grandmother for and your mother for, would you allow your own daughter go through it? That's always my question. Why wouldn't you want your daughter why wouldn't you want your daughter to reach for the stars? Why wouldn't you want your wife to become the best version of herself? To me, I'm not even attracted to women that don't have any accomplishments. It's a turn off for me. If I'm being honest with you, if I'm being very honest with you guys, when I see some guys describe what they want in their woman, I'm like, yuck, bro. Is that what you want? For me, I find it, in addition to other things that I find sexually attractive, a woman that's on her own purpose as well. It's very attractive. Reach for the stars, man. Become the best version of yourself. Become self-actualized. When I hear men talk about, oh, nobody cares about your degree, that's a lie. We care. Where did men get this idea that men don't care about women's degrees? Who told you that nonsense? Anytime I hear men talk like that, that tells me you're a man that has no power in this life. It's true. You know how I know you have no power in this world? Because if you look at men that actually have power and move this world, look at their wives. I'm not the one that said it. Go see for yourself. Look at the wives of presidents. Look at the wives of millionaires, the wives of CEOs, the wife of billionaires that we can all see. Look at their wife's credentials. A lot of men love to say, oh, but look at Patience Jonathan, the wife of Goodluck. Do you think that woman is a slouch? See, the reason why, one of the core reasons why Goodluck Jonathan was even president of Nigeria, in addition to other things, his wife is a mover and shaker because she couldn't speak English phonetically. Bro, move that nonsense. Patience Jonathan was a woman mobilizer. She was a community mobilizer because she was because she was not speaking English the way everybody liked to hear. That woman, she's a force of nature. Goodluck Jonathan knows that. Yeah, you have to be an accomplished person in your own way. Anyway, Titanic, Becca, I'll pass it on to you guys. I'll focus on cooking. Okay, welcome Titanic. Welcome. You guys speak. I'll mute myself and I'll be cooking in the background. Okay.
Ladies first.
Up on Titanic. No, Titanic is from Akwa Ibom State. Titanic and I, we are most likely going to fight. We always fight anytime it comes up. But it's all love.
How we are own mothers fuck and communicated a lot of things. Our brothers had
You're going?
Yeah.
So people think that they cannot hear you. Can you guys hear her now or not? Wait. No, it's probably something that I need to press it. You know how these things typically go, man. So they can hear you. So Victoriously says they can hear you. Guys, put a one in the chat if you can hear her now. Okay, so in a go, they can hear you.
I'm saying like
No.
maybe you mute.
Yeah, but I think if I mute you, they can't hear you, which is funny. But go on, Eno, go on.
Our mothers didn't have a choice, especially if they were educated. They got married because they glorified marriage, but they didn't have to do many of the things that they did. They didn't have to deceive the world of what was really happening. Our grandmothers who were married as teenagers didn't have a choice. They needed to survive. Our mothers mostly, especially if they went to school, especially if they were income earning. I'm not saying abuse doesn't exist. I'm just saying that their own behaviors is one thing for a man to be oppressing you. It's another thing for you to actively enable the abuse by lying to your children. Your father did this when your father didn't do it. So many children, like I think the video you posted, you said that many men didn't know that their mothers were suffering. Many men didn't know their mothers were single mothers. That's because the mothers were deceiving everybody that things were really, so they allowed those crop of men, to evolve, and by chance, or I wouldn't say passively, actively also teaching their sons what a woman is, what marriage is, and subduing their daughters to behave the exact same way that they behaved. I'll pass it on now to...
Yeah, Titanic, you can go. Yes, go on. Yeah. After you go, we can go to Y Wall and then Sassy, yeah? Okay, but his network is... Okay, maybe Y... You're on mute. You got on mute. Why?
And she got to choose. I feel like even my mom, she went through a lot because the bitterness is just insane. Because even my mom, despite the fact that she could choose who she could marry, she still faced a lot of issues. And I just feel like that generation, I don't know what it is. I also feel, I'm Ethiopian, by the way. I feel like that generation, a lot of them didn't respect women. I don't know why. So there's just so many issues, so many problems, and I feel like this generation, it's like the women are just like nah. But the problem also lies, the men have seen this behavior from generation to generation, right? And unfortunately, like, the mums baby their sons. So it's like, I don't know how things are gonna change. I feel like we as women are gonna be the change, because like all my friends, like with their boyfriends and husbands, they don't tolerate nothing. The men have to evolve and change. And because they don't tolerate nothing, their boyfriends and husbands treat them well, because they're like, well, if he don't like you, then he's just gonna leave. And the thing is, they're very lucky because they picked men that truly love and care about them, so they will stay and like listen and like do better. Like my friend, she's Somalian and her husband's amazing, like amazing guy, but it's because she don't tolerate rubbish. Like she demands like he helps cook and clean despite him being a provider, because she's also working. And like, you know what I mean, my friend is like, her mom was a housewife, and she told her mom like, no, you should have stood up for yourself more. And the mom agreed. The mom was like, she should have, but because she was a housewife, she was kind of scared. But my friend, like, her husband treats her well. Even my other friend, she's married and her husband treats her well, because my friends, they're not taking rubbish, you know. And I feel like that's the only way things will change. Unfortunately, we have to teach them how to treat us, because let's be real, if they don't treat us well, they will have to leave. And then what? They're going to go for another girl? No. If they truly like you, they will change. And I feel like we are the ones that are in control. That's it. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Where I will. I think one thing that I really want us to focus on, and I don't want us to ignore, it's not about, I guess I know I put it there, school. It was more about choice. Can you guys hear me well, panelists and audience? Because I don't know, my stuff is going crazy, but it's okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. And the thing is this, I want to focus more on the choice. That's my focus. Yes, it's about food, your grandmother, even our mothers. And thank you so much for the clarification, Eno. Yes, it's our mothers right now, they've been conditioned and socialized to accept disrespect and bad treatment. As African men, I understand why this topic triggers a lot of African men, because it busts our bubble. It really busts our bubble. A lot of the I don't know if I should go there. Most of what we thought was going on was our mothers. It was not our dads.
No, you need to go there. It's because you're right.
My family. Today, you are an African man. Are you gonna speak for the African woman, or they cannot speak for themselves? You're gonna tell African women that they have a choice. So when the African women say, "I don't want to marry you anymore," when you see, that's the thing. When to the African men that are always complaining, as soon as the African woman now exercises, you know, one thing that pisses me off. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? You guys, they have a choice. Oh, you're going to die alone. Go and get your car. So the question is, do they really? But I want to listen though. I'm not here to tell anybody how to feel. I want to listen to people.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, go on.
So let's go into the choice of Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right. So let's go into the issue of if African women have a choice. Let's look at it from our culture and traditional perspective. So I'm going to tell you this, right? African women have always had a choice. Those choices are embedded in our culture, in our traditions, and they've always been given that leverage in society. For instance, right, if you married into a family that your husband was maltreating you, or you don't feel comfortable about, right? You're supposed to go and meet the head of the families and call their attention to it. And if your husband does not attend to that issue, if that issue is not addressed by the head of the family, right? There's a women union. They always had this women union. I know women of this generation don't do it because a lot of them have this thing going with themselves, this competition going with themselves. But back then, our mothers used to have this women union where issues about marital related issues like marital violence, abuse, and all those things could be reported. And then the women themselves would either communicate it to the husband or take it up with the village council. In most cases, even the husband himself were also allowed to come into those places, meet those women, and also report if the wife was acting out of order. So there was a sort of system in place to maintain how society, how women and men interacted in marriage or relationship. But then, let's also go into in terms of choosing who to marry. The primary reason why it was very important that family members got involved when a lady wants to get married was that the family members will saddle with the responsibility of asking her if she wants to go into that marriage or if she does not want to. And if the young lady said, look, I don't want to go into this marriage, my father is forcing me into this marriage, they would immediately terminate it, right? They would not impose or force her to go into a marriage she does not want to go into. So this whole idea that our mothers didn't have a choice, well, I do not agree entirely to it, because I have seen cases and scenarios where women declined marriage proposals, and it has happened on several occasions. So I felt that all those things fell apart when colonialism came in. Europeans came and colonized and destroyed our way of life and the institutions we had in place to protect ourselves. So I don't know, but that's my contribution. I don't know if it makes sense to most of you, or you can ask questions though.
No, I agree with you, Titanic. I think what we are looking at now is the era that we are in, right? And I understand that colonialism has our structure. And again, look, I think there may be some bias here, right, Titanic, in the sense that in our culture, women actually held forefront roles. I am half Ibibio, half Efik. I don't know, for those of you, Titanic and Eno, they know what I'm talking about, but Wakanda, Waiwo, and Sasi. So I'm from the same region as Titanic and Eno. Our culture, women held sway, but that was not the majority, by the way. In how do I put this? In my mother, in ethnic culture, and please don't quote me on this, I can ask my mother. The first daughter actually was the one that decided like very important family stuff. I think she told me something like the first daughter has a lot of pull. You understand, which is quite unique in a lot of like Nigerian cultures. Like women actually took center stage. Now I think in Igbo culture, Titanic, correct me on this because you're quite familiar with Igbo culture. I think in Igbo culture it's kind of like the same. Titanic, am I right or am I completely off? Like women who, because I know in Igbo culture.
Yeah, Igbo, there's not.
Go on.
There's no difference between Igbo culture and our culture. In short, okay. Our culture is a direct replicate of the Igbo culture and vice versa. So.
Okay, thanks for that, bro. Women, yes, were like very involved. Because I know in Igbo culture, they like the women committee, the women. So women decided who became chief. Like they were powerful. But I'm speaking in Africa in general. That's you guys got to keep in mind when I'm speaking about Africa. I'm speaking in generalizations. However, there will always be pockets. There will always be pockets of exceptions, like our culture. But in general, even after colonization, I was expecting that the period tried to create systems where we but I've realized that a lot of us African men like the power dynamic. We love that, because when I hear the way some African men, but I realize that as soon as, because on one hand you hear African men talking about until that woman now decides to, I don't know, how does society typically respond to that? But we cannot ignore that this is the reality for women. My auntie and the women around me of my mother's age, they will tell you, yes, I mean, we were the exceptions. Men were the ones that went to school. Our responsibility was go to the kitchen and shut up. Now, of course, depending on the family you are in, you have some leeway here and there. But I really want to just listen to the women, and I just feel like there's a lot where it's just, and anytime the woman try going to school, not getting married, staying away from responsibility, believe is what it should be. For example, a very popular one is this. If a woman chooses to focus on her career and rise to the ranks of, I don't know, a senior person in a company, what is the first thing that people always say to her? Is she married? It happened. No matter whether she is the best, the most qualified in that role, it doesn't. Or if she becomes someone of repute in a company and everything. To understand that times have indeed changed. It's 2025. Women have a choice now, and it is actually encouraged. We cannot keep reverting as African. We need to deviate away from this tendency of always wanting to. You should be more like my mother. You should be more like my grandmother. Yes, but how was your grandmother truly happy, truly fulfilled in that marriage? You understand? Like, so again, please unmute yourself and speak. Let me land. Another thing that I like to ask you that.
Can I come in?
Sure.
Okay, so let's go a little bit into this, if women had a choice to marry or not. So yes, first of all, one of the mistakes we should not do is that we should not talk about Africa in general like when we are having this kind of conversations, because we all had independent nations with different cultures and traditional belief systems. So we lived as independent nations before the colonial era. So, for instance, where we come from, for instance, we're known as the Kwa Igbo nation, or Ibibio nation, or Ibom nation, understand? And we had a different system altogether with the Yoruba people around the world, right? The closest neighbors we had were the Igbos of the South. Those were the closest neighbors. And that's why you can see that cultural similarity amongst us. Just mess things up.
Maybe drop and come back. Maybe that would help. Drop and come back. How's that? Maybe.
Okay, I think it's just stable now. I've moved from where I was.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so that mistake we make is that when we talk about Africa, and that's the same mistake the white people continue to do. They keep classifying us as the same people, like because we are all black skinned, but that's not true. We had independent nations. Some societies in Africa, some people in Africa were more civilized than the others, and we had adequate traditional systems in place to checkmate all these excesses in our society. So, but what the white man did, in order to make us look as if we were all barbaric, so they had to just classify us as, when they just say African, like racially profiling everybody to have the same mentality or ideology. So coming back to whether women had a choice to marry, back in, ancient African society, right? The thing was that, first of all, if a woman did not marry, she usually stayed back and started dragging properties with her brothers. Well, because the men in African society were meant to inherit the family property. And in some other culture, they would give her something. But in most cases, when the woman did not marry, when she stays back home, right, she starts dragging properties, starts claiming rights over the wealth of the family. And most of the time, she pick up fights with the brothers' wives, her sister-in-laws. And so it was wise that they gave a woman out into marriage in that time. Another area they also considered was that whenever everybody left the family to go and marry, right, the woman becomes vulnerable if she stays back. In essence, there won't be someone to look after her. So even in her old age, if she doesn't have children of her own, life becomes very difficult because people wouldn't leave their own family affairs to start looking at you. So they had to enforce that, marriage policy that, look, if you're up to age to get married, you can go get married. Oh, this is terrible.
Can I say something? Yeah.
Actually, Esther, could you help me run it, please, dear?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, please. Just keep in mind, Esther. Sassy hasn't spoken yet, okay? Fleur but I trust you. You do it, dear, okay?
Oh, okay. So Sassy hasn't gone, and who else? Fleur. Okay, look after. What you just described sounds like some Nollywood film script, and we need to keep things in context, because one thing I noticed with these discussions is when the men are trying to give their reasons, they swing between contemporary African culture, ancient African culture, made up stuff that they imagine and romanticize, and anecdotal stories. It's not one solid thing. What I will say is Africa is not a monolith, but there is a shared cultural practice of appreciation of the feminine energy. Anywhere you go in Africa, there's this acknowledgement of the feminine divine. We share that pan-Africanly. But what I will say is when we're saying about women not being married and staying back and having nothing to do, there was people, it's not modern times where people live far away from each other. People are still within the local community, and that woman, even if she's not married, would still be made useful in other areas. She might get into weaving or crafting. African women in majority of society are the economists. We hold down the economy. We are the market ladies, the traders. We bring economy. So nowhere in our culture has there ever been a thing where women were treated with disdain. Now, was there assigned roles that people did stick to for the betterment of the community? Yes. Were there anomalies within that? Of course. We've got historical figures that were women soldiers that, ran away from arranged marriage to fight a waging war against an invading force. We have these stories all throughout Africa. But that's not what we're discussing here. One thing I've noticed, especially amongst Nigerian men, I can't speak for others, but I know my men. A lot of you are basically a Oyibo man in black skin. You want the way you treat African women and conduct yourself, you're basically the racist Oyibo person towards African women. You want the same privilege, the same audacity and piss take as an Oyibo man. Now, you can't get that with them because you're not trying to have that fight. You don't want the beef of the Oyibo man, the Caucasian. You do not want him. But I notice the vim and the passion and the smoke is always readily available for African women. And I'll be real with you, all my life, you see your grandmas, because I'm one of them ones, I talk to the old ladies as well from as young as 15. A lot of your mums weren't happy with your dad. You know, a lot of the times when your mum would say, I'm going to go and visit Auntie Bosse. Auntie Bosse's neighbor was the man that your mum wished she married. I remember speaking to when I was 15 and a half or 16. And I remember I had a friend here and her dad was the classic abusive, typical Nigerian guy, cheating on the mum, had a second family, wasn't contributing, would sometimes do it when he felt like it. Sometimes he'll come home, sometimes he doesn't, the whole whack. And one day when we were getting dressed up for something, and, you know, it's just all girls of all ages, the aunties, the young aunties, the teenagers like myself and the girls in their 20s. And one thing I'll never forget that this auntie said, she said, we asked her something about, what do you do? How do you cope with Shola's dad not being around? And she said, he has his fun and I have my fun too. And the way, like, you know, like when the statement was so heavy that even at that young age, we knew not to, the conversation ended at that statement because our brains knew that this is my confessions. And it's so funny because that song came out that time too. Auntie dropped a bomb. And you know, African women have a way of saying something without saying it. And that was a word for the wise. So as much as we sit there and saw Auntie struggling and, you know, we knew it was tough for her, Auntie found time to have fun. And a lot of your mums did this. And if we look at now the whole Japa situation of people, you know, second generation Africans and Europeans growing up, trying to bring parents over, trying to bring children over, and they're discovering, hold on a minute, I'm not even your real dad because you got to do a paternity test to do some of these visas. Oh, so what we are seeing is this was always an issue, right? But due to a lack of technology, a lack of travel, because travel is what brought about a lot of these stories I'm seeing where people that are in their 40s are finding out when they're trying to bring their parents over to America for a medical care or whatever, and part of the visa application is, oh, you need to do a DNA test to validate what your claim is. And they're finding, wow, this man ain't even my dad. And this is your mum's, the men in this chat, this is your mum's generation. So there's always been an issue, but one thing Nigerians specialize in is sweeping things under the rug. Because now that everyone's trying to do Japa, a lot is coming to the light. So let's not pretend that this hasn't been an ongoing issue, because Nigerians started coming to America and to Europe in the 80s and 90s. And now those children, which is our generation, when some of you are trying to bring your parents over, you're finding out that's not your dad. So there's always been issues in marriage. There's always been things happening, but we didn't have the technology, we didn't have the connection, we didn't have the freedom to speak out on such things. But I promise you, my grandma is 97, and even some of the stuff that she says they was getting up to in the 60s and the 70s, child, a lot of you are really your father's children. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not talking all over the place. If you can't keep up, you can't keep up. They're all interconnected. A lot of you come from Nigeria to Europe or to the West, and you act like, oh, I'm this African man. This is my belief. This is how we do it. But you yourself, you reap the rewards and benefits of the so-called modern women, because a lot of you don't even have the testosterone to even maintain those things that you're asking for. You're saying you want your grandma's era. Grandma did not even buy herself a safety pin to pin her pinafore, because that's how much your granddad had everything covered. Do you got it like that, sir? Take the bass out your voice.
I would like to say something. Hello, everybody.
But Fleur, Tunde was here first. Let Tunde speak.
Hi, guys.
Oh,
I've
well,
been here before these people who want to speak.
Yeah, but then speak, dear. You will mute. Welcome.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Zambia. I was born and bred in Zambia, though I now live in Texas, but I'm African. I want to focus on your last part, which says that men need to evolve in 2025. I think that's a very, very powerful statement, which a lot of our African men don't want to face. Like, that's the reality they have to face. Like, this is really serious for most women. Women have evolved. They've joined the workforce. They contribute to their families financially. And the men, what do? They still do the same things they were doing. The only thing they do is to bring a paycheck, and they are manhood. But that's not enough in today's world. Most men are claiming that they don't need women's degrees, but the fact is life has become hard. Most people need 2-income households to survive. You need a woman to help you too financially for you to live in a good neighborhood and take your kids to a better school. So men should realize that women need partners. They need equal partners. It's not just enough to bring your money, because women are bringing money too. I've seen situations in my own family where my own sisters, they work too, together with their husbands. Their husbands come home by 5 p.m. My sisters are coming home at 7 p.m. and they have to start preparing dinner while their husbands are just seated. They can't even help the kids with homework. Simple homework. You want your wife who was at work to come and do homework. She has to cook. She has to clean. She has to attend to your needs in bed. Like, do you want a slave or a partner? So my appeal to our parents, to the people who have kids, especially who are raising boy children, raise your kids well. The world has changed. They need to evolve and catch up, or else there will be consequences. Most of them will find themselves alone. Thank you so much.
Tunde, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I will appreciate I don't get interjected. So I'm not here to face any other gender. Like I'm just I feel I don't believe in marriage. Neither do I believe in relationship. I believe in baby mama, baby daddy, and I have kids. So nobody's gonna force me. I've studied the things. I realize that it's not productive for me. I'm not gonna be on that one cabinet and lie to myself that somebody's gonna love me for 30 years or 20 years. That is a waste of time. Thank God I was able to live with my grandma, and I realized that what all these men were subjugated, women were subjugated is a lie. And I'm gonna agree with Wakanda. What she said is fact. My grandma was married 5 times. She married 2 Ghanaian men. Because you're from Ogbomoso are the most travel within Yoruba, So she's married 2 Ghanaian men. That woman don't have time. My aunt got married 4 times. My aunt, my mom followed. She married 4 times. So this has nothing to do with gender. I don't know what happened 70, 80 years ago. I feel like it affects both gender. But now, one thing we are here to come to conclusion is this thing is not working for both the male and the female. Because women will always play their part now. The average Nigerian girl that probably live in America or probably live in UK. Oh, I want a Nigerian man to start, I want a Nigerian man to do 100%. If you want a Nigerian man to do 100%, that means you have to be able to accept the abusive nature of that Nigerian man. It's fact. And when somebody that's fact. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen some women dealing with it. They say they're okay with it. When they say I'd rather cry in Bentley than cry in Danfo, they're okay with it. You see them here. Or try when you go to all the Yoruba platform.
But I agree with. I've heard them say that too. Today, I've heard that too. Honestly.
Yeah, they say it so many times on this platform. They will say, "Chebi is just cheating." I'm not bothered. No. They will say, "Chebi is just cheating." I'm not bothered. He's paying 100% of the bill. So you can't have it both ways, And I always tell these alpha chicken, whatever they call themselves, alpha chicken or alpha male, whatever they call themselves, you can't do what your dad did.
Hold on. Did you say alpha chicken?
Yeah, I call them alpha chicken.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they know me. They know me. I call them alpha chicken. Yeah, You can't do what your dad did. Your mom don't come. Women today know how to come. So if you are looking for the best, if you are looking for your mom, no. If you are looking for your mom in a woman today, you can as well go and download go and make a mannequin of your mom and marry her. I always tell them. So for me, it's not working for both gender. I was just coming from all the way from Calabar for a wedding. I know that wedding won't last. All the way from California to Calabar, then we have to travel back. I know that wedding won't last. Spend over 70
wedding won't last, Pray.
No, there was already a chaos. The wedding supposed to start by 9. One family was not agreeing, the bride price and all those things like that. No. Then we went out to start by 6. I was from 9 down to 6 p.m. That shows that there is a foundational problem between the both families. But, all in the name of, somebody said, carpeting. Me, I don't believe in carpeting. I don't carpet my emotions. If I know that this thing is okay with it, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to. So when I have a bunch of men, in fact, nobody now, you can't live that lifestyle anymore. You know, you cheated on your once. Now you're not complaining to people on social media. Yeah, your mom didn't cheat on your dad. Yeah. You cheated 3 times. You did. You know, so it goes both ways. Staying with a woman for years. I know that, and I'm not gonna lie to myself. I don't you see all these flowers, all these white wedding and local wedding that you guys do. It's just a day. That's just a day. Within the past 10 years, more than 10 weddings. Nigerians, guess what? 8 of them are divorced. More than 10. And then there's one, they are currently going to divorce, which is one remaining. I know this is not working. So I'm not going to come here to like blame the women.
Right. Today,
get attention from me.
Today you're coming in and going out. Your network, bro. I don't know. Your network is coming in and going out, sir. But we can hear you. It's just like you pause for like some seconds and come back again. Are you good?
Oh, okay.
But you're making some good points actually. I agree with you today on many of your points actually.
Yeah. So I mean, like especially I always attack these alpha chickens, right? Because you are looking for what is not realistic. You are looking for it, and I always tell them that no. Have you ever raised a child by yourself? Do you know what it takes to raise a child by yourself? You know, I always give it to women because like whenever my son comes to me, I can't raise that boy the way my baby mama will raise that boy. I can't. I'm not gonna lie to myself. And when I look at alimony and all, I'm like, those things have to be paid to women. Women do a lot. I can't do what my baby mama is doing. When that boy jump, me, I'm already tired. Like, hey, uncle, come and be going back to me. I'm already tired. The thing is, like, majority of these alpha chickens don't want to adjust. They don't want to adjust. We agree with you. They don't want to adjust. They still have this mentality that no, a woman have to do this, a woman have to do this. You ask man, what do you have? What do you have? You don't have anything going on in your life. You know, you are looking for a body bag, your stomach is bigger than a buffer. No, you see all these men, and you are, because you are a man, you are entitled to all these things. No, because you are a man, you are entitled to all these things. Like, you are not entitled. So I'm not here to, like, you know, but maybe the women have to understand that, no, if you want a Nigerian guy, right, or probably, I mean, I don't want to focus on African men, I want to focus on a Nigerian guy. If you want a Nigerian guy, it comes with consequence. That's fact. If you don't want to deal with the consequence, let them be. All these men cheat. I'm not gonna lie. We are all in December in Lagos. Majority of them have wives, and they cheat. You know, if I tell you a Nigerian guy that's married, that they all do. The only thing is like you have a choice, and the choice is that you choose to stay or you choose to leave. And guess what? Some women choose to stay all because of the benefit, which is the financial benefit. That's fact. So if you don't want to deal with it, let them be. That's it. And I always say, don't use I'm going to land. I always say one thing, right? If I'm dating a Nigerian woman, I will never ever talk about money with her. One thing I already construct in my mind is like, no, I need money to date a Nigerian woman. Maybe other women I can do love with them, but I need money to date a Nigerian woman. A Nigerian woman doesn't believe in all these 50-50. She just
and I would agree with you, and I was saying the same thing. Nigerian women just so you can.
I have dated Zambian, I've dated Cameroonian. They didn't ask me for money. I've dated South Africa, they didn't ask me for money. But a Nigerian woman, she'll just look at you like, who is ready to suffer with you? Are you okay? She's not ready to suffer with you. So okay, that's my point. I'm sorry if I take it.
I actually agree with you with like 80% of what you said. I was thinking I'm going to disagree, but I agree with you. But anyway, let's do this. I want everybody to make their first point, and I'm going to settle back to that. And by the way, what you good, sir? Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Yes, my point was that before, like in the olden days, it was just like a woman, as Wakanda said, they were crafting or doing some stuff or going to the market, and the men were hunting. And when the man came back home, then he has a woman that can cook for him. And the problem lies now where there is like more opportunities for women. So women are no longer interested in money. They are more interested in partnership. They are more interested in partnership than they are interested in marriage. So now they're asking the men some emotional intelligence that the African man hasn't learned. Because before the African, what he learned was like you bring home some money, some food, then you will have a reward. They didn't learn the African man to have it emotional intelligence or to connect with his partner or to have a life vision together. So now when we ask the African men to connect with a woman or to be a partner to the woman, then
it becomes a problem because he has never seen us, or he never learned to be equal as us. So it will be really hard for the African man to evolve when he has not, most of them don't have emotional maturity or emotional intelligence.
Okay.
That's where the problem lies.
Fantastic. So guys, we're generalizing a little bit because we have to. Everybody's from different countries. Fleur from Ivory Coast, Tunde is Nigerian, I'm Nigerian, Eno is Nigerian, Wakanda is Nigerian, M is from Sierra Leone, Waiwo is from Ethiopia. So we have to speak from our perspective. We have to generalize. Fadze, go on. After Fadze, we're going to go to Babati, and then we're going to have an open panel. Go ahead, dear. Welcome. Where are you from, Fadze?
Zimbabwe.
Okay, go on, dear. Go on.
So I think the issue that we have as Africans in general is that we adopted patriarchy, which was actually not done the way that we would have practiced patriarchy. In our culture, everybody contributed almost equally to the life and to how the family was run and to how everybody lived. So it wasn't a case of this is what women are going to do because women are the weak ones, or the men are the ones who are going to do everything and whatever. Everybody worked hard and everybody contributed. Then when patriarchy, the colonizer came and brought their type of patriarchy, which then set very clear lines of this is what women do and this is what men do, and women cannot do what men can do. Whereas in our culture, women were still held, in our African cultures, women were held with high regard. Women were respected. Women were treated like they were important. Whereas the colonizers' view of women was a view where women were less than. So we then adopted that type of patriarchy and made it our culture. So when we talk about culture, we are actually talking about that type of patriarchy that was brought by the colonizer. And we say that is our culture. And a lot of our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers suffered as a result of that. I was talking to my mother the other day, and she mentioned that she was actually, when she got married, she was actually more educated at that point than my father was. But because she was a girl, her father then decided that she couldn't proceed with her education because she would have had to go to a boarding school somewhere far away. So she couldn't proceed with her education. And so my father was the one who was pursuing his education beyond that point. So it's a system that was not our system. Everybody sort of had equal opportunities in most of our African cultures. Of course, there are differences, but I think in general, there was a certain level of respect for women, and women still had capacity to do a lot more than what the colonizers' patriarchy then brought. Because the colonizers' patriarchy then came and brought the limit to say that women cannot do this and men can do this. And the men accepted it because it meant that at least they had some privilege, which was not as close as what the colonizer had, but it was definitely more than what the women had. So that's why they accepted that type of patriarchy. And now, when we're supposed to be moving back to it, actually moving back to our original type of culture, men have gotten accustomed to having that type of patriarchy. They don't want to let it go, and this is why they hold on to it as their culture, whereas it actually isn't. And this is why also a lot of men will say that feminism is not necessary. It's not part of our African culture, because in our culture, women didn't need to fight for rights because they always had rights. But you adopted the patriarchy, so we still have to fight for our rights. So I think I'll stop there and let somebody else speak so that I don't take up too much time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Then we can have an open panel. Go on there.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for having me. I really like that she started with this perspective, because I feel like a lot of the times when especially our brothers say that they want somebody like their mother or their grandmother's time is lack of knowledge, as Wakanda spoke about. Like, they don't really know what happened during those times. It's like this glamorized, glorified perception of the past that everybody does. Like, everyone does this. It's not just African men, African American men, white men. Everyone is like, oh, we want to go back to the 1980s where women were like this or women were like that. but they don't actually really know the day-to-day of what happened during those times. And I wanted to add a perspective of African, like Sierra Leonean. I can only speak of Sierra Leonean culture, right? There was a guy before. He said the reason why women had to marry is because they were not protected in society. My question for him would be, protected from whom? That's the first question. And secondly, do you realize that they were structures built by women for women? In Sierra Leone, there are historically recorded female chiefs. Even till this day, there are still female chiefs. And these female chiefs used to marry other younger wives. I can't speak on the sexuality or anything, but they would marry them in terms of protection so that these young wives would then be under them in their communities. They would work for them and all that stuff. And the reason why I started with the question, protect from who, is because the only reason we're talking about protection or fighting for rights and all that stuff is, as Fad said, is because some societies took in the patriarchy, right? So once the patriarchy came in, and now how we used to be, where women used to be able to get higher positions, especially Sierra Leone. Like, I can't speak on everybody else, but if you read about Sierra Leone history, Sierra Leone women used to vote before the Europeans even gave their white women rights to vote. Women were involved in military. Women were involved in, as I said, they were chiefs, female chiefs, and not just as far back as in like in the 1900s. No, I have a Sierra Leonean friend, her grandmother, that means 3 generations, is a female chief who had small wives, as they call them, who ran communities, who ran villages. So every time like some of these men speak, I feel like they say, oh, let's not talk about Africa as a monolith. Africa is different, da 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 da. But then they proceed to talk about Africa as one, not knowing that there's so many differences, so many different communities, so many different villages where women do have these power, and it looks very different than this white 1950s housewife that you see from TV that has now been infiltrated into Nollywood, where men subjugate women. That is not everybody's history. I just wanted to say that.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Mr. Host, for having me. I've listened to Tunde speak. I've also listened to Fazai, and I've listened to, I can't even remember just in this moment. Okay. The last lady that spoke, I think, yeah. And I couldn't agree more with Fazai. And but I would like to make this very clear. People, nobody can act above his level or her level of understanding. Nobody can actually do beyond his or her level of understanding. So, I'm Nigerian, and I'm from the southern part, from the Yoruba descent. And when I think or look at the way the saga between the male and the female gender as to rights and all of that, it amazes me. For one to choose a partner, you should be able to tell or know to an extent how the person thinks, and should be able to also understand the person's modus operandi. Having said that, Tunde said he believes in baby mama, he doesn't believe in marriage. Now, I've had experiences in the past, and at some point I told myself, no marriage. I even, to a large extent, concluded, okay, maybe I should just be a eunuch or something. But then I was outgoing, relating with people and all of that, and then I found my wife. So talking, I will digress a little bit, talking about men paying the bills and all of that. And this silly question that I think it died a natural death in 2024. What are you bringing to the table? You know, it kept me wondering. Now I'll come back to I met my wife, and it was a different ball game. Before I got married to my wife, I have met other ladies, and they were quite like on the demand. Before you say hello to a lady, bills begin to roll in. And I went back to the days of my father and my grandfather. These traits were not there. You know, Fazai said something. that it was 50-50. And I said, it's not like it was 50-50. So for some reasons, everybody understood their roles. And it wasn't stated clear that I tell people, it's not anywhere that this is the responsibility of a man, this is the responsibility of a woman in partnership, in this case, or in marriage. You know, anybody will get sense, make him do what he's supposed to do. I will chip this in. My daughter, I think it was a classwork or something in school, and they wrote, I think in a tabular form, responsibilities of dads and mom. So dad, my daughter wrote, my dad goes to work, my dad does the laundry, my dad cooks, he does dishes, and she stated some funny things, and I wasn't there when she wrote it in school, and the teacher marked, of course, and marked some things bad, and she had a serious argument with the teacher that my dad does all of these things. And she came home and she complained, and I looked at the book and I was like, oh, okay, this is a conversation for the adult. And I went to the school and I corrected it. That aside, when you are involved with somebody in a relationship, the reason why people get married and divorce or date and separate is people know, I don't think people know what they want before they get into a relationship. It has become a thing of one bam. Getting into relationship is not a matter of having reproductive organs and organs for coitus. No. Relationship is for the highly cerebral. I stand to be corrected, but I need people to agree with me here that relationship, marriage, to an extent, is for people that are very, very cerebral. Tunde said out of 10 weddings he attended, 8 of them have divorced. Now that tells you the level of value, their moral values and their moral standard. That is what it tells you. Responsibility is in it. You look at it and you should be able to know where you come in. Now, as I speak with you now, my wife has gone to work. There are times I don't know what is needed in the house or what should be bought or something. And there are times that my wife does not know also. So, well, like I said, anybody will get sense, make it do what he would do for the partnership or the marriage or the union to move forward. I hear ladies these days say, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom and be a trophy wife, and that's your entitlement. Tunde said, if you want to marry a man and you want him to pay all the bills, get ready for the abuse that will come forth. All well and good, but everybody should understand, because we keep talking about patriarchy. I corrected some people few months back, that was last year in London, and I told them, you see, let me tell you the truth. What was at play in Africa is nothing that should be traded. But to an extent, colonization happened, and it's like we have lost our value system and we have lost our culture. We had it all. Some persons will say, I want I want a man to be like my mother, or I want my wife to be like my mother. Sorry, but you should go ahead and marry your mother. And most people say that because of the level of submissiveness that they saw their mother portray before their. The truth is that was as a result of the information she got or she had at that time. The world has evolved. And I'll borrow a leaf from the Holy Bible. Be not conformed, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And most men and women will keep having issues as to managing a relationship until they are ready to unlearn and relearn some attributes that will better their lives. People keep saying there's nothing, relationship doesn't work these days. No, it's not true. It still works. It all depends on what we put on the scoreboard or on our cartograph before we delve into a union with somebody. So to a large extent, whoever have sense should do what is needful. There is nothing like let's do 50-50 or let everybody come in their capacity and do what they can do and what they should do. Thank you.
So guys, we're going to have an open panel, right? And then people have to drop so that I can bring new people on. I don't know. I'll let you guys interact, ask questions. We can have a 10-minute open panel, right? So it's open panel. What does that mean? Open your mic and just talk. Don't wait for me to call you out, okay? Breathing hard like that.
Yeah.
Is somebody getting piped on my live? Oh,
that's what Mike.
Oh my God.
TikTok. About hope you're not getting your gola to Abego. TikTok, let TikTok not think I'm sponsoring P. Abego. Because Abego, okay, it has happened before. on my life.
God, I dare go.
Baba. I mean, Baba, see, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm a freaking guy. I'm freaking like that.
M wants to say something.
I mean, you guys don't know what's going on behind here. Somebody's doing it.
M wanted to say something.
Go on. Guys, if I don't put panels, I can just speak. Go on.
I think it's so interesting that women have not complained openly, right? They have had spaces where they complain to each other, and they have told their daughters to get educated, to avoid, being in marriages like their own. But, and this might sound a bit controversial, but in the same breath that they are telling their daughters to go to school and avoid marriage, they haven't raised their sons differently. Am I the only one that's noticed that?
No, sons definitely are still raised in a way that they're raised with the intention of them continuing to be the same way that their fathers and grandfathers are. Whereas the mothers, I think, are raising these children to avoid being like them.
Right. And my question is, how have they not seen that your son is now going to be just like your husband because of your way of raising him?
I think because mothers are judged for raising their children differently. If you raise a son to be more modern, to be loving, to be kind, to participate in doing a housework, learning how to cook, then, society then judges the mother for raising the son to be like a woman. So I think, and then you also have the father on the other hand. The father will raise the son because, remember, men do not believe that there's an issue with patriarchy. So the majority of men in our culture do not believe that there's anything wrong with it. So they raise the boy child to expect that life to continue the way that it is, as him being the man and him being the provider and him being all of these things. Whereas on the other hand, they also suffer as a result of that patriarchy, because this is when you now meet women who are, as Babati said, that, they're there for the bills, because, you have people who are still raising their children to believe that the father is the provider, the man is the provider, and the man must do everything, and the woman must sit and wait for the man to provide. So this is where we're having this disconnect in our societies, in our communities, that we are raising that next generation differently. Others are raising them in the patriarchal, old-fashioned way. Others are raising them in a modern way. But these people are then coming together, because you don't know if the person that you're going to meet tomorrow is going to be someone who was raised with the patriarchal view, or someone who was raised with, like some of the majority of the men on the panel, with a more modern, more open-minded view of what a woman is and what a woman's role is supposed to be. So I think that's probably where the issue is that we have.
So I want the men to speak. So Tunde, go on, brother. Go on. So go on.
Yeah,
Tunde.
I want to say. Okay, Tunde wants to talk.
Okay. This is what I don't like. Sometimes I always say that women are the biggest condoner of patriarchy. It's so simple, right? I have a friend, right? His mom is telling him not to marry a single mother. Guess what? His senior sister now turned a single mother. His mom is now 10 years. I wish a good man can marry. So women systematically, I'm not like, I don't want to put this on both a gender thing. Women raise single boys, like maybe single mothers raise single boys. And at the end of the day, this single mother protect their son. And women now say, I don't want to marry you because you're a mama's boy. You want a man that was raised by his mother, that was raised good, but why don't you want to marry him because he's a mama's boy? Or because it's like he loves his mom, or because his mom's pampered him. So this is not like, you are looking at it like it's a patriarchy. To me, it's not a patriarchy issue. It's an issue that affects both gender. So like for me, if I have to let my mom choose for me, my mom will choose the kind of woman I don't like. My mom will be pampering me. My mom will be saying, "Oh, I have to go and look for a virgin." That's the kind of woman my mom wants. So majority of you, if you raise a boy now, you won't raise that boy to be a boy, the kind of boy that you want him to date you. You will raise that boy to be a pamper boy. You will pamper him, and that boy will now start seeing life from your own perspective. and women won't want to date him. You know? So who are the people raising these boys? Mothers. What are we talking about? So in that picture, you want to focus on the men. Yeah, but I was talking in the next second, I will finish in the next couple of seconds. Why can't we talk about the mothers raising these boys? I wouldn't like if I thought like end up getting in a relationship or I choose to get married, my mom and my wife never stay in the same house for 2 days max 1 day. Never. And that's fact. Me, I know what my mom is capable of. I will never let the woman I date or the woman I marry to be in the same house with my mom. I know what I'm talking about. You know? And majority of the men can understand, but they won't be able to say it. So me, I don't want a woman like my mom, but most Nigerian men want a woman like their mom. So for me, that's just the answer.
Go on, Baba T. But when you're not speaking, just kindly mute, okay, Baba T? Thank you.
Yeah, I have a flu. I'm cold. Yeah, I'm cold. So thank you. I said something about women also raising their son to be like the men that they ditched. So I just want to ask, are you saying they raised their son like the men that they ditched in the absence of these men, or while the men were still with them?
If I have to be completely, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, if I have to be completely honest, it is also in the presence of these men. Because I think whenever...
Okay, thank you.
No, I just wanted to say something quickly. When people talk about...
Sorry, okay.
When people talk about single moms or mothers, they like to blame and say that the father was not there. But let's be very honest with ourselves. In many of these homes, the father is physically present, but not active in their child's life. Let's just be honest.
I think there's...
And that was fact. That was facts. What you just said is fact. You know why it's fact? You know, you see all these men still claiming what you just said. All these men, I want a woman like my mom. Because their mom condoned a lot of abuse they done to women. So that's what, like, they want a woman that can continue where their mom stopped. So whether the man was available or whether the father was available, whether the father isn't available, they look at women lenses from their mom. They see the way their mom do, the way their mom condone abuse, the way their mom accepted cheating, the way their mom do a lot of things, you know. So they want that to continue. So whether she's a single mother, whether she was married, it is a systematic thing. So in as much as you want to face it and say, oh, guy, I don't like the way you behave. Look at the mom. It is the mom. He's looking at the way, like when they say, I want you to be like my mom. It's like, I want you to suffer like my mom. I want you to suffer financial abuse like my mom. I want you to suffer mental abuse like my mom. I want you to do those things like my mom. And the mom has it as a norm. That is a norm. So if you are not doing it as a woman, the mom start having a problem with you that you are not treating my son right. You are not doing this with my son right. You know, I did this for his dad. So why can't you do it for my own son?
Yep.
And the cycle continues.
Mm-hmm.
I see men complain.
Can I ask you a question, Sunday, please?
No, guys. So for people that haven't spoken, there are other people that want to join. So if you have nothing to say, basically drop, and then when you do have something to contribute, you can come up. So like YWall and user, if you don't have anything to say,
Yeah, let user go.
I do have
some mute. Just different personalities, but as you can see, I'm cooking, right? That's why I say whenever you have something to say, unmute your figure.
Can I ask you a question?
Wait, hello, pause. Can user 1104? Can you go ahead, because you've been there a while, and then we will you'll go next, and then Shy African. I don't think she's here. I'm gonna drop her because even when she came up, I could hear her background noise. Let me just YWall, please. The floor is yours.
Okay. So I have like 3 brothers, and I like a lot of what you guys are saying is so true. Like I do believe my mom really babied like my brothers. I don't know why. Like men are treated like kings. I don't know why. But it's just the way it is. And like I had to do the housework, I had to do the cooking, the cleaning. They didn't even take out the bins. Like it was really bad. Like I'll be honest.
Why would? You know, I have something that I say. Women create the men they complain about. In this point, you actually agreed with me. And Emma as well.
Yeah.
The men they complain about. It's a cycle. Go on, why?
So 100%. I really do blame my mom because I look at my brothers. they didn't do nothing. Like, they didn't even wash their own plates. And it's just like, and I would be the only one arguing and being like, they need to do this. Like, it's not fair. Like, they need, and my mom would be like, oh, they're boys, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, what are you raising them to become? Like, now that I look at them, it's like, I feel like I'm the one raising them, and like, because I'm worried for their future girlfriends. So I feel like a sense of responsibility to like show them how to do things. And sometimes I just like shout at them, but I feel like slowly but surely. But I really believe that the mothers baby them. I've experienced it firsthand, but I do believe that when they get girlfriends or wives, things will change. I feel like as women, we just can't tolerate it. Like, we have to like stand up for ourselves, and we have to demand more. And if we demand more, then the men will change because they have to. And I feel like we're the ones in control. It's unfair as well, because like it requires a lot of patience, and you really have to like train them and teach them, and you have to do all this work. It's like, because if you don't say anything,
it's not your responsibility.
I just wanted to react to that, Wayao. When you try to school this man, trust me, you're heading for the rocks. And I can assure you that the rocks will come falling on you. Because if you try taking correction to a man who is already set in his ways, there is one thing we know how to do as men. We know how to fight. Trust me, these guys that are not raised right will fight back. Now, I'm talking about mothers raising sons to become useless. Permit me to use that word. My mom didn't raise me like that. Now, my mom is actually doing that to me. If I visit my mom, and when my sisters visit my mom, the treatment is different. And at some point, I'll get to you, I know. And at some point, my sisters began to complain that when he comes visit, treat him like a king. You make this, you do that. But when we come visiting, you use ancient Pomo, you do this, you do that. And my mom will be like, hey, this guy broke his back for you.
Give them a
And
ballet.
I'm like, hey, yeah, mama. This guy practically broke his back for you. What I did to him, I did not do to any one of you. You are girls, I just did the needful, but for him, I went the extra mile. And my wife presently will look at me and like, hey, father, thank you. Finally, thank God I married a man that was raised right. And it gets me thinking, is it that because I don't see these things that most men complain about. The other day on TikTok, a man was like, why would his wife not do his dirty laundry? Why would the wife not clean up after him? Why would the wife not do this?
Go home. Stupid.
Why would the wife not do that? And I was dumbfounded. I was like, seriously? My wife knows too well not to touch my clothes. Probably because I'm used to it. I don't know. But when people come and rant about these things, it amazes me. At the same time, it amuses me that it's actually an issue. So please, Wayawo, it's not the place of women try to do that. Even in this day and time, women still try to train their men. It's not your place. And the few ones I've seen trying to train their men, and they are not together anymore. People pretend, and trust me, it's just going to be for a while, and the real man will come out.
It's just difficult because, like, let's say you meet this guy and he's like a good guy, but he never grew up in a home, or like he never had that training. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I should help.
Why is he good? Why is that your responsibility?
But it's just, let's be real. It's sometimes it's just the reality.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not. Why?
It's not. Why?
No, it's not.
And men don't look at Kingsley. Kingsley is here washing dishes, making his own food. No, but how many guys? The reason why
we're just guessing.
Wait, sorry guys, just to take the panel for a second. Can Shy African go?
Okay.
No. Continue my highs. What do you want me to do more?
He's not supposed to be here.
Help him to hit his live target, guys. Come on, we need to see some cowboys.
Sorry, guys. Just to end my point. Just to end my point, I do also, I know I put emphasis on mothers and my mother, but I also feel like, I don't know who said it, I think it was Tunde, the silent fathers. And I feel like like my brother's dad was very silent. He just didn't bother, he didn't even care. He even condoned them not doing anything. I feel like that part as well is the reason as well. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like a lot of like silent men, silent fathers, silent stepfathers, like they don't want to get involved, they don't care. It's another part of it as well. And I just feel like that's all I wanted to say. And I just want to say, we're all kind of gassing Kingsley here, but it's true, like how many Kingsleys are there? Like, let's be real, it's like sometimes you have to, anyways, that's pretty
There's
much.
a lot
Thank you.
more. No, don't finish that sentence. I know where you were going, Wayo. You're like, sometimes you have to, but you don't. The thing is, when you have that mentality, that is what is going to lead you to enable these men, because your mentality is that you want to save them or change them or be that person that's going to, show them a new life that they didn't have. And that's an enabling mentality.
And I also add that most men know what to do. This is an adult.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Shy African is next, and then I think Miss Becca. Has Fadzi Joy gone? She's gone, right?
No, I'm here, but I can drop if you need space.
No, you can stay.
She
You can make sure. Okay, cool. So after this, it's going to be Miss Becca, and then the panel's open. Shy African, go.
Yeah, good day, everyone. I almost forgot what I was gonna say anyways, but I hope I remember everything. So first of all, I was gonna talk to Tunde about something I said, because I feel like it came from a place of negativity, right? Where he says some people, like, is the woman that's like their mom, you know? In my case, I feel like if you're an adult, if you're a grown-up person, right, you should be able to pick and choose the values that you want from your parents in your husband or in your wife. Now, if you see your mom suffering, I don't think that's something you admire. Oh, my mom suffers so well, I want my wife to also suffer. Like, if you want your wife to suffer, then where is that coming from? Do you even love the person you're getting married to? My own mom, yeah, I'm just gonna give a brief thing that my mom's like, I think she just got into her 60s now. She's a doctor and she has her own clinic. Do you get it? She's someone who's very driven and who has had businesses all through her lifetime. She's run different businesses all through her life, and that is something I admire. And if I am looking for, so I was like, oh, I want someone who has this kind of thing in my mom, because I've seen that woman turn dust into gold. Do you understand that? I've seen her. So then when I'm talking in a generation and I see a woman who's like probably maybe very demanding, she can actually make good of what is given to her. You understand? Let's say, okay, I bring something to her, but she can't make good of it. But at the end of the day, I want these things in a woman, and I shouldn't be made to feel bad if I want the kind of woman I want to be with to have these qualities. You understand? Sometimes when people say they want a woman that looks like their mom, is not always from the negative side. Do you understand that? My mom also has shortcomings, and I would never want my wife to also have like those shortcomings. Do you get? Because I know that shortcomings from her parents can impact their kids in a negative way too. Do you understand that? So I wouldn't want my mom to suffer. I wouldn't want my wife to suffer still, or be in a house where she's probably going to be depressed. Then there's something I also want. A lot of people tend to they over glorify some things. The way they talk about how the relationship out there is. Oh, women are demanding. Men, they want someone 50-50. The truth is who you give your energy to. And when you sit down by yourself and ask yourself, why is this like a repeated pattern in my life? Or am I meeting women who are always demanding me this, wanting me to take her to various places in less than like 7 places in a week? When we just met, we've not even gone far, and then I just tell me that women are demanding. You need to look at your own self and ask yourself, why are those the kind of women that you keep meeting? Do you get it? Women are not like that. There are women that are like that, but then there are also women who like to get to know you, who are not just trying to look at you to say, oh, how much can this guy spend? How much does he have? Because when you look at it, we're not actually measured by the amount of money we have at the end of the day. The amount of money we have is not going to keep the marriage. So if you're talking to someone and then you notice that this is the kind of person that you keep attracting, almost every time, to the point whereby you even feel like all women are like this. You need to take yourself out of the dating scene and start questioning yourself. Why am I attracted to this kind of people? Why don't I actually meet people who want me for me? And then when you figure that out, you're probably going to be able to like weed out the people who are not for you. Because I tend to tell myself that there are good people out there, and like think the way people say, oh, all men are cheats. I don't believe that too. Not all men are cheats.
Exactly.
Me myself, I'm not a cheat. You understand that? So if I'm not a cheat, I don't know why someone is out there saying that all men are cheats. So I feel like our reality is what we create, and we should really stop focusing on the bad side and focus on what we want, and then we're gonna see it work and happen for us the way we want it to be. Do you understand that? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I'm gonna make a comment. South African boy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this. One of my biggest, as a content creator, you guys make me so proud, and I'll tell you why. I think as Mr. Kingsley, one thing that makes me happy and makes me go is the quality of I mean, you guys don't understand how much I am so happy of this panel and the kind of panels my platform tends to bring together. Like Babati, Eno, Wakanda, Waiwo, South African Party, Tunde. I mean, our conversations are quality. And that speaks to the kind of people that come to my panel I'm listening to you guys right now. I am learning a lot from each and every one. I'm picking up things. I'm agreeing. I'm disagreeing, and I'm just happy. I'm happy for the quality of people that we're able to bring together and actually have this kind of conversation. There's no screaming at each other. There's no cursing out each other. It's just a mature, reasonable conversation. I just felt like I needed to say that. I'm just happy, man. So thank you guys. So the panel, you guys, and guys in the audience, man. Thank you guys for also controlling us too. Give the panel. I saw M say some things to Shy African boy. Fantastic. Give the panel. Do whatever you gotta do. Let's give ourselves roses. But I think I've said I'm gonna shut up. I wanted to give you guys your flowers, man. Thank you so much to each to the ones that joined the floor. I give you guys that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something, right? Shy, I agree with you, but the thing is, like, people don't go for what they like. I have a female friend, she will accomplish making over 180 a year. She recently met a guy. Like the guy sound like you. The guy is a physician, he's a lecturer in one of the university in North Carolina. You know what she told me about this guy? He said he's too boring. I don't know, what does it mean too boring? Like the guy is too nice. I don't like, what is the guy's too nice? Guess where they went on the first date? London. On the first day, the guy paid for the flight on the first day to London. He was too nice. And I have some male friends that they met some good women. I have some male friends that have met some good women. I'm talking about good women. Women that never asked for a dime. You know what they did? They used them. So that's what we're dealing with now. We have users. So nobody can come here and tell me that they have never met someone that like them. You met someone that like you, but you use those people. I'm not gonna lie, I've met some good women that like me. Maybe I wasn't interested in them. Me, I kind of like toxic women anyway. So I like
You like toxic women.
So like most of us, I like women that talk back. I like women that talk back. So I don't like quiet women. So most of us, like, we've been opportune to meet people that like us, but due to societal standard, I want him to be big yash, tall, broad shoulder, tattoo. Those are what you like. Those are two different things. What you need and what you want are two different things. But we mostly go for what we want. And what we want doesn't like us. Then we start projecting. There are some girls I see on TikTok. They have big nyash. I know I'm not capable of them. I always leave them. I am not. They look good, but I'm not. I don't have the financial to to live their lifestyle. I'm not ready to pay for your flight to Maldives. I don't have the, like, why would I waste $7,000 or $8,000 just to compete to it? No, I don't have the money. But some men, in their delusional mind, they feel like the money can change their mindset. Then you will now spend $10,000 on that. If she's not interested, you now be coming on social media expecting me to be bashing women with you. Are you okay? Am I there when you are giving that $10,000?
Then they told me.
Exactly. So I don't want to be. So when I look at some women asking me for what I can provide, I let it go. I know I can provide it. They look good. They sound good. But I know I am not qualified. And the same advice goes to some women. You see a man that other women are contesting for. But in your delusional mind, you think that you can compete with more than those women. Both of you will now be doing the boy's mind. All of you will now be doing the boy's mind, fighting over the same guy. You will not be blaming the no. Let it go. I don't think anyone is that special for me to be begging them to be in my life. Are they okay? Even me, I'm a spec. Everybody here is a spec. You are a spec, I'm a spec too. Nobody, you can't unspec me. Let me stop there.
No. No. Wakanda dropped. Holy shit, Wakanda dropped. Damn. So Wakanda is my mod, by the way. So it helps me keep the house. Okay, so Wakanda's dropped. I will do this. So, I've spoken.
Robin just joined. Robin.
Aha, okay. Okay, let's see what it sounds to do that we're here before. We're going to come to you, bro. So, Faz there. You want to say something quickly? And then we'll go to Robin.
Yes, I just wanted to there's a post that I saw earlier talking about how this guy was talking about how his father, when he and his father and his mother had a disagreement, the father wouldn't provide food for the family for like a week or up to a month. He wouldn't provide, so the mother would have to like run around and find ways to hustle so she could feed the kids. And he says, she never left her marriage, and women leave marriages for frivolous reasons, and these men are not abusing women. They're actually teaching women to become more industrious and to find ways to hustle. So if your man is not providing for the family, that means that you need to hustle and not leave the marriage. So this is the kind of mentality that a lot of men actually have when they look at the things that happened to their mothers and their grandmothers. It's glorified instead of it being seen as what it really was, that it was a form of abuse, whether it was financial abuse or emotional abuse or whatever the case it might have been. But he was adamant that, and lots of men in the comment section of that post agreed that yes, women actually do leave marriages for silly reasons, and they actually just need to stick it out because marriage is not supposed to be easy. It's going to be difficult. But yeah, that difficulty is seen as a mark or as a reward of some sort for any woman who is able to endure it. And that is why they expect the women that they end up with to be the same way, so that they can act however way they want to act. And the women must just be quiet and tolerate it and find a way to make life work amongst them.
But I
That's all
think
I have to say.
it's really good what you're saying, and I think part of it also has to do with the fact that women have now also within themselves start to praise other women who are suffering, right? Or themselves, they see it as like a one up in their womanhood, right? So it'd be like, look, I've been with my husband. I did this for him. I did that for him. You're single. You have yeah, exactly. Look at you. You're single girl. You don't have anyone. Me, I'm here cooking for my husband. I'm doing this for my husband, my husband, my husband. And now these same women internalize it and use it as a badge of honor, where it is for us now to now break that cycle, our generation of women to break the cycle and say, no, your suffering is not a badge of honor, and neither is my suffering, right? So if a woman comes to you and said, look how I suffered for my husband, you don't even have a husband, just say, good for you. That's your cup of tea. That's not my cup of tea.
Robin, you're next, but I'll say this quickly before Robin goes, is that a lot of African women, a lot of black women, not just they've been socialized to glorify struggle. We think that if you don't struggle, it's not love. If your man doesn't treat you bad, it's not love. And I don't know, I'm sure you women can speak on this better than I can ever speak on it, is that a lot of African women in particular, I will focus there, they've been socialized to see that if your husband doesn't treat you bad, if there's no pain, if there's no something that will take you to the Lord in prayer, it's not worth it. It's like, hell no. Me, I don't like struggle love. I don't want me and my wife to struggle if I ever get married. No. Like, why can't we enjoy life? Why must there be struggle? Like, yeah, life will give us bad boosts. Let's be honest, right? For those of you that are married, life will give you bad boosts. Facts. Even if you have $1 million in the bank, life will take half that money. But overall, we want something smooth. We need to start normalizing happy, enjoyable relationships. It doesn't have to be bad boosts. But Robin, go ahead, sir. Welcome. Good to you.
Okay, sorry. Can I answer to what you said, please?
Quickly.
I don't know if
Very quickly.
okay. Okay, let me just try real quick. Okay, the thing is, yeah, what you just said, smooth love, yes, correct. Is what everybody will want, but there's what people react to. Do you understand that? So, as a lot of ladies might say, oh, they want their man. There's something today said. He said she didn't want a guy because the guy is nice. Do you understand? So a lot of people will say they want their man to fly them out to London on the first date, but when they are faced with people that treat them like that, they don't want it at the end of the day because there's no drama. Do you get it? So it's not like those people need to look deep into themselves and figure out what the problem is, because we have majority of people who don't want peace. They just want that. They want drama. They just that's what we face, you know. So I'll just leave it there. And when it's my turn to talk again, I'll talk more on this.
Robin, are you there? You're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, bro.
Greetings to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm all good, brother. I'm all good. How's everyone? Lovely. I just want to start out by saying life has its own struggles. Choosing a partner and being with a partner shouldn't be part of your struggle, right? There is already struggles in life. You get my point, right? Like being with someone, be a wife or husband, shouldn't be a struggle that you should say like, oh, this is what you're praying every day and night and having sleepless night over. Because I tell you what, just the daily day-to-day life is already a struggle. Why would you want to get yourself into more struggles, right? That's one side. I've been on this. I don't know. Can anybody hear me? Because I can't seem to hear anyone. I can't hear you, Kisley. Right.
No, because I'm on mute. I can hear you. I'm on mute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you heard, sir. You heard.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. So I've been on this live. I've listened to everyone. Most people speak on here, and I just want to say the things I've heard on TikTok, right, where people, these sort of men they choose, the sort of women they choose, that they come online and complain about them. My own whole life growing up back home in Nigeria, yeah, men, I don't know about anyone else. Most of us in my family, we were just raised just the same way as the girls was raised, in the sense that when it comes to harsh choice, when it comes to helping, it's like a rota. When it comes to your turn, it does not matter if you're a man or if you're a boy or if you're a girl. Do you get my point? I remember we have rotas. When is your turn? Nobody is babying anyone. If you're a girl, no. You know? So and again, some people have a really bad upbringing, which I understand. But this habit of sort of like placing everybody in the same bus and just bust everyone off and say like Nigerian men or African men, they don't do this, they don't do that, they're not good fathers, they don't help around. I don't even know where that sort of like narrative is coming from. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I know myself, I know what I can do, I know what I'm capable of. I know a lot of other African men, other Nigerian men that do exactly what I do. In my cycle, we married men with children, right? We know what we do for our family. So I think when it comes to choosing partner in life, is a very important part of your life. You can do everything wrong in life, but when you're choosing a partner in life, it should be something that you sit down, you take your time, right? Because if you make that mistake, you're going to be messed up for a very long time. Most especially if kids get involved in that process. It's not a life that you want to live. Trust me, I've seen people that life have turned upside down just simply by choosing the wrong partner in life, right? So this idea of the men, the mothers encourage them. I understand there are some mothers that they've turned to their sons as their junior husband because the husband is not playing the role of a husband anymore.
God, that's what I was gonna say. Yes.
So this is part of the reason why you see some of the mothers, the things that they want to look up to in their husband, they're not saying it. So when that son come around, like when they have that son, they now idolize that son. They want to see everything they're not seeing in their husband, and that love blind them, and they end up raising their son in a way that they shouldn't. Right? If you look most of our African Nigerian setting, most of the time, right from when the child is born, a female child is born, they are being raised to be a wife. As young as 5 years old, 6 years old, they say you need to learn how to do this when you go to your husband. This is a child that is not even up to 5 years old. They already, years upon years and years and years, this thing getting inculcated into their brain. It just becomes a norm to them. So that's the reason why sometimes you say, because I'm a big sayer of saying, set your standard. But if you don't even know what your standard is, how are you meant to set them, right? This is part, in my opinion, this is part of what the issue is. Because right from when kids are supposed to be kids. They are being groomed into becoming wives. They are being groomed into becoming submissive girlfriends, submissive wives. That's a part of the reason why you see the girlfriend that are in a dating phase. They're already doing what wives does for husbands. Then what exactly are you going to be doing when you get married? And some of these men, in other hands, their mom tells them, I mean, not just their mom, their parents, and most of the cases, the father is present, but they like a silence. They are just at the background. They're not really involved in the grand scheme of things. The women are running the home. The women are going to be the one to decide where everybody's going to have for dinner, who is going to do good. The man, most of the cases, is just go work that money and bring it, and the rest of the responsibility are left for the woman. And this doesn't help, But this is other thing I want to say as well. I've seen most of women complain, men are not helping, you should help, you should do this, you should do that. But then these same women, they see a man that is fully involved with the family, helping the family. They are the one to quickly come up and say, you're able to do this for your family. If you were this, if you were that. If you're struggling as a woman, would you want another woman to struggle? Wouldn't it be something of win-win for you to say, this man is actually doing right by his family. Let's applaud this man. Maybe other men will take a lesson from this man and do well and do better. You can't say you hate something at the same time you love it. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Because I've seen a lot of women on this app, they will complain day in, day out, the man doesn't help, the man doesn't care about the family, they don't, but then on the other hand, they will see a man who is fully involved with his family, that is doing everything right by his family. This same group of women will be like, how come you're doing this? How come how come you're so involved? Why are you so that sort of thing. So at the end of the day, what I'm going to say is, do right by yourself. There are a lot of messed up people out there. There is no amount of things you do that is going to change anyone. You shouldn't even try to change anybody anyway, right? You should be able to just, and again, who is not willing to change is never going to change. Change comes from the heart, from your heart. If you're not willing to change, you'll never change. There are some people that will do everything wrong in life, but they will find a way to justify it. Is that the sort of person you want to try and change? It doesn't work. So that's the reason why I say, before you want to get into a relationship, scrutinize the person, know who you're getting into a relationship with. Some people just want an easy life, normal life. Life is easy, my guys. Life is easy. It's just that you're looking for stuff in the wrong places. You're looking for stuff in the wrong places. And again, sorry guys, I'm talking a bit, I'm taking a bit time, but I just want to get it off the chest, And again, if you look at
you're killing it, bro. You're killing it.
If thank you, brother. If you look at it in African setting, African dynamics, there are men that are willing to be involved with the family. But do you know what the problem is? Is the society. I'll tell you why it's the society. I remember back when I was in uni back in Nigeria, I had this girlfriend, When I finished from school, I used to go to the market, I'll do food shopping, I'll come home. Both of us would be cooking, Just I'm married now. I literally, both of us would cook. But do you know what my friends used to tell me then? Robin, in the kitchen, I don't cook. You get? And when the time go, just imagine this back then it was really bad. I'm like, bro, me, I like to cook. Does it mean that just for the fact that I've had a girlfriend now, I should stop, I should stop doing what I love to do, something that genuinely makes me happy? Because and again, being the last born of the family, this is what I've experienced all my life. My sister will literally get up in the morning and tell me, go and sweep the kitchen, go and clean the pot, go and cook breakfast for the whole family. This is what I've been used to all my life, So again, for the sake of what the society is going to say, what your friends, what the people around you is going to say, you would have to recondition yourself and change your life. On the long run, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be miserable. At the end of the day, look at it this way. When you were single, when you had no girlfriend, you had no wife, who were doing your cooking? Who were doing your laundry? Who were cleaning your house? Who were doing all these things that you're supposed to be doing? It was all you. So all of a sudden you're married now, you're in a relationship now, you feel like, none of those things, I'm not supposed to be doing them. See, to be honest, I can't really get my head around it, but
they get disabled, sir.
So I can't really
down. You shut it down.
Yeah, I can't really get my head around it, because at the end of the day, choose your own. They say choose your headache and take your paracetamol. At the end of the day, choose who you can live your life with. being in a relationship shouldn't be a struggle. Me, I don't like struggle. You understand? I don't like struggle, and I don't want to struggle. If I want to struggle in life, it should be something outside of what is supposed to give me peace and joy. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I get up in the morning. When I go to work. Yeah, I say, okay, I'm starting work by 8, for instance. I rush to get to work. Yeah, when it's 4 o'clock for me to check out from work, yeah, I'm literally rushing. And my colleagues will be like, wait, but you're going home. I'm like, I have my time here. I have to get home this time so I can have my time with my family. So if you, as a man, as a woman, you're not having that feeling of you want to rush back home to your family, just know that something is wrong and you should find a solution to that problem. You see my point now? So this is where I'm going to land. At the end of the day, life is difficult, but it shouldn't be the choice of who you want to be with that makes it difficult. You know, life has its own struggle. Let it not be the relationship you're in or the marriage you're in, right? We all have one life to live, and we'll try and live it to the very fullest. So this is where I'm going to leave it for now. Maybe I'll come back again later and speak a little bit. But thank you for giving me the chance.
In the beginning, you said, you know, your relationship shouldn't be. To me, that's something that I practice in my life.
Yes.
If I'm trying to have something with a lady, if I notice that she's not reciprocating in anything, I walk away. I don't have time to start convince anybody.
That like who like you, my bro. Life is simple. Like you, you know. So many men are having their life cut short because instead of like what Tunde said, instead of you to go and look for that woman that has small yash, she will also have flat yash. You know, you can live with that, but you are looking for big bob, and tomorrow night you tell you come and spend £5,000 on a date or £2,000 on a date, you will have a heart attack. You will buy early. Is that the sort of life you want? Even these days now, remember the reason why. Remember, the reason why some of our fathers let me just tell you now, the reason why some of our fathers that had more than one wife, that married more than one wife, the reason why some of them buy early was because of the stress of multiple wives. But you know, these days now, the thing that is buying men early now is not even multiple wives. It's because of the big hands that they want to put their face that they can't afford. Yeah, imagine you're working in a Western society, you're earning, let's say, give or take £3,000 a month, and you have a woman that is high maintenance that at the end of the month, he will tell you only her maintenance is about £2,000. You are going to have a heart attack, my friend. How are you going to survive in that situation? You'll be in a constant hot seat.
But you'll
be in a constant hot seat.
It's not that life.
So this is
you know that's what you can maintain. You know you can maintain a Toyota Camry, but you're opting for a Bugatti. Bro, you got.
I'm a big fan of live within your means. If I live below your means, if you can, live
that's what I'm saying.
You get my point. Because at the end of the day, you will have all
you
this
get carried away by all of that
unnecessary stress. You know, you see
of their own stress when it comes to dating and relationships, even in marriage.
Thank you.
So what are you complaining about? A lot of people have met, they've met the woman that liked them, the man that liked them. The thing is, the truth that we didn't want them. That's the truth of the reality. Me, I like who like me. If I shoot my shot and you're not reciprocating, guess what? I pack my bag and I walk away. I don't have time.
Exactly. Bro, see, let me just chip this in quick here. You know, some people, they care too much about what other people say. They care too much, and that's part of the problem as well. You see people that in a relationship at the beginning, they were content with themselves, they were living their life, they were living their best life, you know, they were quite happy with themselves. But then they start, you know, it's like this need for validation, right? You be like, you have a woman. Let's say that woman, for instance, is not like, you know, everybody want to date Beyonce now. Everybody want to date, Rihanna. My brother, you are not going to date Beyonce. Do you know how many, do you know how many men that want Beyonce and Rihanna? Do you know what Jay-Z is going through? Huh? Are you Jay-Z that you are looking for Beyonce? Do you get my point now? At the end of the day, you're going to have a heart attack. And some men, they have a peaceful home. They'll go out there. They'll start, oh, what do you think about this woman? What do you think about that woman? At the end of the day, all these things that you are going to be asking about are temporal things. As a man, whenever married, you meet your woman have the front is standing, the back is standing, everything is on point. At the end of the day, by the time you sow your seed and your seed germinate inside this woman, those things that you saw will start diminishing. You see what I'm saying now? At the end of the day, you demand, we are the problem actually. Because you see a woman with all the big back and front, and now you've sold your seed, and your seed have diminished that good standing order. You see? So at the end of the day, you are looking for all these physical features. When with time, this physical feature will fade away. Look for something that will stand test of time. That is character, that is the behavior, that is how this your partner sees you, is how this person, your partner communicates you the respect. This is the thing. You have to look beyond the physical aspect of things. And some people, this is where the problem is. You met a woman, you say, when I met her, she used to have a standing ovation. But now, everything is seated. You're going to have a problem. Look beyond that. Look beyond that. So I'm gonna mute here, bro. Thank you for the time anyway. I'll still be okay.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Can I go back to that stuff again?
Absolutely, South Africa. You have 3 minutes to make a point, okay? After you were going to go to Paris, it's calling, and then we're going to go to Tunde, we're going to go to M, we're going to Babati, we're going to go to Wakanda, we're going to Robin, and then we're going to close the panel because, man, tomorrow I got to be in the office, and I'm here yapping with you guys. Go on, sir. Everybody just 3 minutes. Okay?
Sorry, I need to actually go in a minute as well because we just have a night shift. You know the story.
Okay, yeah. Okay, brother. Okay, thanks for stopping by, okay?
Night shift. Thank you, bro. Thank you for letting me on. Thank you.
South Africa, sir, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead, take your time.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this, right? In relationship, right? Sorry, can you hear me? Oh, okay. In a relationship, all right. In a relationship, be it marriage, friendship, or whatever, right? There's what people react to. Do you understand? People might say, "Oh, this is what they want," but what they react to is actually what is important. Do you understand that? So, which is why a lot of people don't end up with the dream guy, but rather they end up with, let's just say they end up with a guy that doesn't show them as much affection as they see on the internet. Because at the end of the day, even when you go outside to say men don't assist in the kitchen or men don't do this, the truth is you are attracted to the men that do not assist in the kitchen. To you, that's what turns you on. To you, that's what you react to. That's what your body really wants at the end of the day. You understand? So nothing is going to change for you, even if you speak up against it, when the person inside you really wants a man that doesn't assist in the kitchen. You understand? Because there's someone I was talking to. The person was in a 4 years relationship, right? And then while we're talking, sorry, someone is typing. But while we were talking, right, the person was telling me how they love roses, how they love flowers. And you would think that this person, maybe someone must have given them roses in the past, But then I asked this lady the question, I was like, oh, really? That means your man must have given you roses. She says in the 4 years of our relationship, the man has never given her one flower. But then this person is telling me that they love flower, they love this, they love this. Now, how come you're in a 4-year relationship and something as easy as a flower has not been given to you, but then this is something that you claim that you like? You understand? And that made me understand that this person doesn't actually like this thing. They just want to put it out there. But at the end of the day, they really just want a man who is not going to show. Yeah, they really want a man who's not going to show.
But did you communicate?
They don't want a man.
Like, did you ask for it? Like somebody, I think it was Emma asked it. Question.
I can't really remember if she asked for it, but what I can remember is it has never been given to her in that relationship, and she has been in the relationship for 4 years. So that says a lot about who you say you are and who you actually are. Who you say you are and who you actually are. You're actually someone that don't care for that. You say you care for that. You say you want a nice man. You say you want a man who's gonna do this. But at the end of the day, what you're attracted to is somebody that would not actually put in the work to actually buy you roses.
Jai, can I ask you a
with that.
question
So
quickly?
No. Let him make it. Let him make it. You
Okay.
I want everyone to get it out so that I can
okay,
understand.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Go on, Fry.
Okay. Someone said she could have lived in a fairy tale. So at the end of the day, yeah, a lot of people are lying to themselves. That's what I'm just gonna say. A lot of people are lying to themselves, and they should really just be true to themselves. That maybe they were put here on earth to date those people that don't want to assist in the kitchen. because that's what they really want. Because they don't want that peace. There's something you said, relationship should be easy, it should be, but it's not everyone that wants that easy relationship. Some of them will tell you that you are boring. Some of them will say they can't get their reaction out of their man. Oh, do you know that he came back from work the other day and I even made him cook for me and he cooks for me? What kind of man is that? He was not even angry at me that he came back from work and he was the one that still made dinner. Your man, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, they will get angry that they can't get that rise out of you when you are just trying to be a loving guy. You're just trying to be a nice guy. You understand? So I'll just end it there. You can ask a question.
Sorry, so what I wanted to ask was, why was she telling you? Is she a friend or, because, yeah, I just wanted to know why she was telling you about the flowers.
Oh, she was I would say she was like a friend, yeah. So she was telling me about the flowers. So we were just having a conversation. What do you like? What do you know? And then she was really hinting on the flowers because she even had a rose tattoo on her hand. She has a tattoo of a flower on her legs. I think on her legs, on her arm. I can't remember. But she had a tattoo, so that's where the whole thing came about. But then hitting on the flower made me understand that this is something that is, if it was given to this person, the person would appreciate it.
Okay, Em, you want to make your own point? After try, who was next? Oh no. So today, make a point, sir. You have 3 minutes to make a point, and then Babati has 3 minutes, and then M, and then
Okay.
you end the line. Go on.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think my next one is kind of bad. Yeah. So the thing is like the last speaker, something like that happened to me. She was talking about she was once spending on the guy. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I mean, we're talking for like maybe like 2 or 3 months. We're cool. I end up buying that flower, right? So obviously she doesn't want me to buy a flower. That guy that wasted her 2 years was the one that ended up buying flower. So you know what? When the guy came back, she accepted the guy, and she ghosted me. She ghosted me for like maybe like a year. When she came back, when that guy messed her up, she started crying, started to be manipulative again. You know what I did? I told her to book a ticket to Dubai that we are going to Dubai. I didn't show up in Dubai. She showed up in Dubai. And that's how I took her lesson. I didn't show up. So you can't waste my time. She wanted to waste my time the second time. I didn't let her waste my time the second time. So I told her to book a ticket to Dubai and I'll meet her in Dubai. She didn't see me in Dubai. I wasn't, she called me. I blocked her phone. I mean, you can use me the first time. You can't use me the second time. So people are attracted to whoever give them trauma. So I did the normal thing, right? We didn't even knock, we didn't even do anything. But I was checking up on her, I'm checking up on her, like buying her gifts. I even bought her gift, like, doing the normal thing, buying her Uber Eats in the morning, bought her flower and all those things. And she now ghosted me. Now come back a year later, now saying, she was sorry. Yeah. Okay, I was like, okay, cool. Okay, let's go to Dubai. That's what I said. Let's go to Dubai. She didn't see me in Dubai. So yeah. If you say I'm evil, yeah, I have to do it. No. An eye for an eye. I believe an eye for an eye. You can't waste my time. She was about to waste my time again because she was trying to manipulate me again. She's trying to come here to manipulate me again. And try to, like, she was crying when she come back again. She was crying, oh, the guy wasted my time. Yeah. The guy, okay, yeah. Me, I will waste your time too. You can't waste my time the first time. You're gonna waste my time the second time. So I wasted her own time. So let me just stop there. Yeah.
Damn, bro, you're a savage, man. Okay, so he dropped. So Emerald, make your point.
I'm also gonna drop now, but thank you for the live. Great live. Good perspective. I followed some new people here, so.
Thanks for joining. It was a pleasure to have you, okay? Are you there? Welcome here. You're gonna speak up a little bit.
I'm sorry?
You're gonna speak up. I can hear you, but faintly.
Can you hear better now?
Much better, Emerald. How are you doing, dear?
I'm doing good. Hi, everybody. I join your lives a lot, but I think this is the first time I've come up, and I just want to say thank you for having this platform. I'm a big fan of yours, so keep doing the good work. What I wanted to say was, I think I requested to join a couple minutes ago when they were having the discussion about, how the marriages were back then with our mothers and fathers. And one thing that I want to say from my experience with my mom, and what I've seen, is that she kept a lot of things in. She a lot of dissatisfaction, things that she wasn't happy about. She didn't express much of it to my dad. So growing up now at the age of 29, I've done a lot of healing and, talking to my siblings, talking to my dad, talking to my mom to kind of see both sides, see what went wrong. And I asked my dad, like, why all the things that, why did you continue to do some of the things you were doing? Because I didn't understand. And he said, your mom never really expressed herself. She didn't tell me certain things, and then I'm looking back to my childhood and I remember hearing her cry in the room, things like that, because she wouldn't really open up to him about things that she didn't like that he was doing. And I don't know if that fear came from, she knew that if she expressed those things, it's either she stays and deal with it or he wouldn't, she just had to leave. And I know for a fact she didn't want to go through with a divorce because she was so worried about what people were going to say. With, a single mom with 4 kids in Africa. I'm from Ghana. So in Ghana, it's, they look down on a woman having that.
Oh, I think that's across Africa in general, dear. Trust me. In Nigeria for sure.
So, wow. So that caused her to stay in for years of just keeping it to herself. So I took that as a lesson. And he himself, my dad, at this point, they're both holding each other accountable and I'm holding them accountable as well. And I told my mom, hey, you can't completely put a blame on some of the things that he did because you never told him how you felt, but you didn't tell him also because of things that were putting you growing up, because she grew up in an era and then, a tribe where a woman just shuts her mouth and stays in there. Yeah. So she grew up with her dad also passed away very young and her mom raised her and her siblings. So it's kind of like a generational thing. So all of these conversations that we're having, and it's so funny because I just had this conversation with my dad 2 days ago and it was a very heartfelt conversation. I had a lot of trauma in my teens and early 20s because I was so angry. I was so angry at him. And that caused me to choose the very wrong man to date. And that was a lesson for me. And I was so angry. Now at this age and with everything that I have sat down to, be accountable for in my own, of course, dating life and also my relationship with my parents, with addition with, amazing therapists that I've had, I had to come to a conclusion that, we all have a choice. We all have a choice in everything that we do. Yes, my mom had a choice. I can't blame her mother. I can't blame my grandmother for raising her to stay in her marriage. At the end of the day, she had a choice. She could have gone against what society was pushing on her to stay in her marriage and have the kids watch her not be happy, hearing her cry in her room. That was traumatizing for me. It was so traumatizing. So I grew up having this, I had a good relationship with my dad, all right, but I had this built-in anger that I couldn't explain, and I think a lot of my friends and seeing how they choose their partners also, they don't realize if you don't do the work as a woman to heal, it translates.
Oh, yeah.
And then now I look back to some of the partners that I picked and I'm like, it was all out of trauma and it was all out of seeking a certain validation that I thought I could find from someone else. That love that we're all seeking, we have it all within. And I think both men and women, if we can come to that conclusion and we can come to that acceptance that we can give that to ourselves, it really will help us in our relationships and our marriage, because you're not going to be looking to your wife to give you that love because you have it within. Whether she's there, she gives it or not. I'm not saying you should be with someone who doesn't love you, but that genuine, unconditional love, give it to yourself. The same way we say God loves us unconditionally, guess what? God is within you. We are all God. So don't seek that from a partner. Don't seek happiness from a partner. Don't say, I'm looking for a man to make me happy. That is so wrong. That mindset will have you picking the very wrong man. Because guess what? If he gets up, life happens. Whatever he's providing for you today, he's cooking for you today, God forbid, he gets amputated and he can't cook for you anymore. Are you still going to love him? If he loses his job, he gets laid off, are you still going to love him? So don't choose any of that based on what they're providing for you, and, seek that and find that within yourself. So, there's a lot more that I would like to add and go into details, based on my experience, but I'll end it here and not take too much of the time. But everyone has had really great points and I appreciate, this platform has been great. Your opinions are always, accepted and respected. Everyone has been very respectful with each other here, and this is great. Let's keep it up as, Black men and women uplifting each other, learning from, our traumas and expressing our emotions in a healthy way. It's really, really good. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for sharing. And just a quick question: when was that turning point that you were like, I gotta go to therapy because I want to start bringing therapy more to the community? But in your personal experience, you don't have to share if it's too private. So please, you don't have to tell us. But when was that turning point specific? If you can pinpoint it as much as you can, okay? Like when you were like, I think I need to go to therapy because therapy is not something we talk about enough, in my opinion, in the Black community. When was your turning?
It was when I realized that I kept choosing the same person in different, and by that I mean there were certain traits that were in common for the wrong partners that I was picking, and I didn't realize that I was picking. So I asked myself, I sat down, I said, what, like, this doesn't make any sense. Because initially I'll make the assumption that they're all like this, they're all like that. So I sat down and I was like, let me look in the mirror. It has to be me. Because there's a quote that I saw somewhere that we project and what was the word? We kind of attract whatever that we have within. So if I'm picking someone who's emotionally unavailable, that means in the moment that I made that decision, I was also being emotionally available. So I sat down in the mirror and I said, there has to be a common factor somewhere. I can't always put the blame on the other person. So that was when I was like, let me just, so I needed someone to have a healthy dialogue and vent to, because I had a lot of trust issues initially that I've now worked through, but I just wanted to vent so much. I wanted to vent about what I've seen growing up, what I've experienced in the house, what I have experienced in friendships. And it was just a lot piling up. So I wanted someone to vent to. Like initially, I didn't even care for a therapist to respond. I think my first 3 sessions, I was just talking nonstop. My therapist was just sitting there. He was looking at me. He was just looking at me like, I talked nonstop for an hour. The following session, I talked nonstop for an hour. It was like, I just felt like I had bottled so much. And then, the preceding sessions, we dive deep, very, very deep into, what was going on. And now I look back and I'm like, if I had this session and if I had vented and had this, feedback when I was 21, when I was 18 or 25, my life choices would have been very different. It would have been so different and very much, much better. So, I definitely advocate, and ever since I did that, now even people, men that I've dated in the past who I have a good, contact with, when they reach out, I'm like, hey, I suggest you use therapy too. That's my only suggestion for them. Not in a bad way. Some take it in a good way, some take it in a bad way. Like they're trying to say there's something wrong with me. I'm like, no. I think that we both chose each other. Yeah, we all. Yeah.
Even when you're doing well, you need therapy. We all need therapy. Some type of therapy. We all need it.
Something, right? So even my parents, I, even though they're hard-headed and how it's gonna be, especially in the Ghanaian community and Africa as a whole, we don't really we have a stigma when it comes to therapy, but I'm slowly getting there with them, having conversations with them, having them open up. I had a very great emotional dialogue with my dad, and that helped me. I think I was holding too much in, kind of similar to what my mom was doing. So when I finally opened up and told him how I felt and how some of his actions towards my mom affected my sisters and that, he took that accountability and he said he didn't really, sometimes in the moment, and I give them grace as well. I give my parents that grace because they were also doing the parenting at the first time. They were very young. Yeah, they did what they did based on what they grew up in and what they had, the resources they had at the time. Now, thanks to technology and education, we have all these opportunities, but they didn't have that back then. So I give them that grace, and I know there are certain things that they would have done differently if they had a chance, if they had the tools that we have now. So, guys, please listen to Kingsley. Therapy is so important. If you have the means to do it, please do it. even if it's one session, even if it's one every 2 months, whatever you can afford. Be bold and take that step. Some people have the finances to do it, but they just don't want to do it because of, sometimes that even is a trauma response. Not wanting to open up to somebody is a trauma response because as a child, you were probably never heard. So this is your opportunity. You want to work on yourself, especially if you don't have children yet, because you don't want to carry on that. But it is unhealed. Trust me, the children will see it. You would think you get a perfect parent, but the children will pull out whatever is unhealed in you. They will pull it out. So please get into therapy, vent, and take back whatever feedback and criticism they're giving you. Okay. But thank you all so much.
Emerald, thank you so much. And I can tell you in therapy because of the way you speak from a very empathetic way. So it's
Thank
clearly,
you.
I can feel it. So great work and keep doing it.
I will definitely be joining in. Thank you very much. Have a good one, everyone.
Emerald, you can drop out. Just close us off. Okay. So guys, thanks, Emerald. Thanks, Tunde. Thanks, Baba T, Shy African Boy. Like I always say, man, I'm so proud of my panel. As a TikTok host, you guys have no idea how you guys get motivated. You get me motivated. You keep me motivated because of the quality of conversations we have. I look forward to coming live with you guys because I always feel healed anytime I leave. So it's not always me pouring into you guys, but you guys also pour into me. And I want you guys to know that. You guys pour into me as well because I learn so much. When you guys are having conversations back and forth, or you're speaking something, I pick up some things here and there. And sometimes, based on what I hear from you guys, it inspires the next topic that I want to make. So that's why I love coming live as much as I can because it helps me. We are your wife now. It helps me stay connected to the community, helps me stay connected to what, the pulse of people. I guess I'm going to say this. Just to bring it back to the topic, if you are an African lady, your destiny is not strictly finding a husband and birthing kids. You have a choice now. Now, if that's what you want, absolutely go for it. But you also need to understand that you have a choice. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to reach the highest level you could ever reach. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to become the best version of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to get degrees, travel, take some year off. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Don't let some people that are insecure, men especially, make you feel like you are, they'll plant fear in your mind. Oh my God. No. You can do both even. You can do both. It's not an either or. Who says you cannot be all those things at once? And one of the biggest lies some of these red pill men share with women is that men don't care about your degrees. That's not true. Men do care about your degrees. Successful men do care about your degrees. Powerful men of high status do care about your degrees. You know how I know this? Look at the wives of billionaires. Look at the wives of CEOs. Accomplished, incredibly accomplished women. So I don't understand this. I don't know where it came from that men don't care about you. It's a lie. That's a lie. We care. Some men care, of course, but typically, any man that is trying to not make a woman reach the highest level of herself, then that man is not for you. Simple as that. And if you're a man and you're full, and this is what really gets me, that I have to shut up because I have to sleep. It's almost morning. Like to the men that are always talking about women getting degrees. Well, then why are you focusing on them? That's something I don't understand. Why do we focus so much on the people we claim not to like? If you don't want women that go to school, if you claim you don't want women that are so educated, why you focus on the women that are educated? Your actions and your words don't match. If that makes any sense, because nobody talks about modern women more than the traditional man that says he doesn't want modern women. I don't get it. There's a lot of women that are exactly what you say you want. Why don't you focus on them instead of trying to convince the women that don't fit your narrative as a man and not try to force them your way? So it's not about that. It's about changing somebody. Anyway, it goes both ways. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fun day. Exactly, escape artists. That's all it is. They find joy in humbling women. It's not about, men don't care about your degrees. You just want to humble people. That's all it is. That's all. I've seen through. Because if you want traditional women, go find them. They're out there. But nobody talks about modern women more than traditional men that say they don't like modern women. No woman talks about men more than the women that claim to be decentering men. Have you noticed that? I'm decentering men, yet all your videos is about men. You know, guys, it's been a pleasure. Go to therapy. I'm going to figure out a way to, I don't know, maybe I need to collaborate with the therapy company to push more therapy to the. You understand? I'm just saying. Again, that's why loyalty is a must. Okay, go find loyalty, man. Loyalty. You can find a woman that's loyal to you. It's simple as that. It's not complicated. We are the ones that complicate shit. Women are not complicated. We just complicate shit for ourselves as men. Men are not complicated. Women just complicated. Women just. Merci beaucoup, Fleur. Ça fait longtemps je n'ai pas parlé. Ah non, deux, trois années. Mais bon, nous aussi, okay? Yeah, crazy. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kingston is out. Good night. Sleep well. Be good. Be happy.